multiculturalism, by definition, insists on moral relativism. It says all morals are relative. When I talk to people and I oppose female genital mutilation, I'm quickly confronted by white women who are saying, "Who are we to tell these people that they should not practice a tradition they had for thousands of years?" Well, the tradition is practiced in your country, and your country purports to protect children. And so you have to make a moral choice. And now very quickly we're talking about moral absolutes. And it is whose morality prevails. Is it the one in your constitution, or is this 1,000-year-old tradition? And you see, as you said, brainwashed, a lot of people who were raised in this ecosystem of schools and media and art and just information and knowledge system that tells them, do not judge the other, especially if the other is from somewhere else. And if the other has a skin tone even slightly darker than yours, you're not allowed to judge it. And so we find ourselves now in this incredibly moral mess. It's a mindless morality. It's not relative anymore, because in your country, in the United Kingdom, the NHS is seriously promoting cousin marriage. Okay, we've had the so-called grooming gangs, which are really rape gangs, and every institution that could have stopped that looked away. And the reason they give for looking away was it couldn't judge it. They were this multiculturalism, the multicultural concept, once it's implemented, that's what it looks like. You go to Minnesota today, in the United States, and billions of taxpayer dollars are missing. Again, it's multiculturalism. You see, we call it stealing, but they call it something else. And anyway, there's the other layer, hidden layer, into the multiculturalist, moral relativist. This concept is that these ethnic communities, they vote, if you give them what they want, they vote as a bloc for benefits, for exemptions from the Constitution and from the law, and for all sorts of exceptions. And so this is what we have. This is multiculturalism in action. That's Minnesota, that's cousin marriage, that's grooming gangs, that's crime writ large, that's women who can't walk the streets, that is people openly protesting and demonstrating 100,000 people strong, weekend after weekend, in support of Hamas, that will have nothing to say for the people of Iran or the people of Venezuela. All of that is multiculturalism in action.
I just want to ask you a couple of questions about the US. You mentioned Minnesota already and the Somali fraud scandal, which has had huge cut through here in the UK. People, ordinary people are talking about it. It really has become quite a noted scandal. Just wanted to get your sense of, again, how something like that could happen. I mean, I guess it's probably similar to the rape gang scandal here, where various layers of society in Minnesota were willing to turn a blind eye to it. But it does seem extraordinary that members of the community could pilfer so much money from the American people, that hard-earned taxes of their fellow Americans, supposedly. What have you made of that? And is it really angering Americans that something like this could happen in Minnesota in the 21st century?
Yes, it's angering the silent majority. A majority that was, for decades, made silent. They were pacified because they were told that they were white and they were privileged and that they held slaves, they colonized, and that it was time for them to make room for people of color and women and gay people, and society was divided into these identity segments. And so that is why, again, I compared the grooming gang scandal. How could it happen at this scale? How could so many people look away? And it's the same with Minnesota. The numbers involved are so staggering that you think everybody in Minnesota must have known, and every Somali on the planet must have known, because it's so much money. And how could that happen? How could that be hidden for so long? And that is because of these three forces working together. So the Somali ethnicity, the clan code, either you're in on it, you're profiting from it, and obviously you don't want to stop it, or you don't like it and you might want to say, hey, that might put us in danger. But if you speak up, you lose your head. Not just yours, your whole family. So the way the clan code works is not, they don't go after individuals, they go after groups. And things are always so volatile within Somali dynamics that many people just for the sake of peace just choose to zip up. So there's the profiting or fear. If I say something, I can't. And then maybe there was some quiet whistleblowing that was going on, which I hear, again, I have no contact with Somalis. I hear, though, that whistleblowers, anybody who wanted to reveal this, was quickly shut down. And that brings me to the second dynamic. So the clan code, and then there is multiculturalism at work, because if these things are revealed just by the civil servants, so by people who are seeing this, the multiculturalists say, but that is going to incriminate Somalis and it's going to make them look bad. And therefore, we just have to shut up and look the other way. And then number 3 is the opportunistic side of it. It is the Democratic Party in Minnesota absolutely relying on that ethnic vote of the Somalis. You cannot win Minnesota without winning Minneapolis. And there are 80 to 120,000 Somalis. And if they can be mobilized to vote, you have a uniparty there. And so these dynamics working together. And so part of it is you can't blame only the Somalis and their clan culture. You should blame them. We should not have a clan. We can't have parallel societies. Either you assimilate or you go away. But what on earth are we going to do about the Democratic Party, the center-left, the main center-left party in the United States? It's like, what are you going to do about the main center-left party in the UK? What are we going to do about center-left parties in the West? Because they've decided that that is their business model. That's their electoral business model, to bring in these networks of ethnic groups, give them citizenship, get them to vote, then game the system, split it, and then you have a different system. So the silent majority has to come up against this and fight it. And I think in the 2024 election, in November 2024, in America, that was the first, I think, maybe first 2016, then 2024. And I don't know, I hope the more people that wake up, the more that this Democratic Party can be held accountable.
Yeah, one thing that really struck me in the Somali scandal was, I read about this in the New York Post, where when the officials started finally to investigate some of these fake charities, one of the fake food charities there said, listen, if you keep pressing, we're going to accuse you of racism. And basically saying to them, look, we're going to embarrass you in front of the world and say you're racist, you're anti-Somali. And it seems to have worked. They seem to have backed off for a period of time and stopped their investigations.
It backfired back then. But now, again, I want to compare the US to the UK. So the inquiry on the Keir Starmer's government was frustrated, and we don't know if it's going to happen or not and to what extent, if it ever happens. But the Republican Congress has sent out subpoenas to the governor of Minnesota, to the attorney general, to the mayor probably. All of these people, they cannot escape, because I think in America right now, we have, hopefully, fingers crossed, a government that is not going to let this pass.